following is from the Agency for Instructional Technology, AIT.
Let's go imagining together to a place so old it's always new. We'll tell a tale, my friends, to you, and share a smile before we're through, and share a smile before we're through. Bum, 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 bum.
Once upon a time, there was a tiny rabbit named Kalulu. Now, Kalulu managed to stay alive by using his good mind to help him escape from animals a lot larger than him. Now, Kalulu lived many, many years and had many children. One of the most famous of them all was Soongoora. Today's story is about Soongoora and Simba. One day, Soongoora the rabbit was walking through the forest. He looked up into a big calabash tree and saw a great hole in the trunk. Honeybees were busy flying in and out of the great hole, and Soongoora thought, aha, in that hole there is honey. Now, Soongoora was determined to have some of that honey. So off he hopped to the home of Buku the rat. He arrived at the door. Tap, tap, tap. Who is it? It's Soongoora with some good news. Well, then come in, Soongoora. Buku was used to visits from Soongoora, even though they sometimes spelled trouble. Soongoora found Buku sitting at his table. Buku, how long's it been since you tasted honey? Oh, ages. Oh, how I would love to have some. You can, this very day. Where did you get honey? My uncle died and left me a calabash tree with a great big beehive. All we have to do is climb up and help ourselves. Oh, wonderful. I was just sitting here at my table wondering if I would have anything to eat today. Soongoora, you are truly a good friend. So Soongoora and Buku set out together to return to the big calabash tree. Now first, we must gather some straw. We will need it to smoke out the bees. Soongoora and Buku gathered armloads of dry straw along the way. When they arrived at the calabash tree, they could see the busy bees and smell the delicious honey. Quickly, they climbed up to the big hole in the tree. Soongoora rolled a bundle of straw and set fire to it. Black smoke rose from the burning straw torch, and he stuck the torch into the hole, and frightened bees fled in a mighty swarm. Soon the straw burned out, and Soongoora and Buku set to eating honey. How good it tasted as it dripped from paws and noses. It would have been hard to find two more contented animals. So busy were Soongoora and Buku that they did not hear the approach of Simba, the lion. Who's in my honey tree? Buku froze with fear. Then he whispered to Soongoora, It's Simba. He says this is his tree. You told me it was your tree. Oh, be still. That old lion's crazy. Just ignore him. Who's in my honey tree? Buku tried to hold his tongue, but he became more and more nervous until he could stand it no longer. It's Buku and Soongoora. Come down this instant. Buku looked at Soongoora. What can we do? If we come down, he will eat us. Oh, I have a plan, whispered Soongoora. Roll me up in the straw and throw me down into the ground. And you tell Simba to stand aside because you're throwing down some straw. He won't know I'm in the straw until it's too late. He won't be able to catch me, but he'll try. Now, while he's chasing me, you run the other way. So presently, Buku called down to Simba. We are coming down, but first we must throw down some straw. Now, watch out that the straw doesn't land on your head. Simba stood back, and a large bundle of straw crashed to the ground and rolled down the hill. At the bottom of the hill, Soongoora jumped out and ran. Simba lunged after him, realizing he had been tricked. I'll get you, Soongoora, and when I do... But it was too late. Soongoora was far, far ahead, and Simba knew he could not catch him. Buku had already scampered down the tree and escaped in the opposite direction. Simba gave the ground a mighty whack with his paw, then sat twitching his tail, stirring up a storm of dust. Lions do not like to be tricked. A few days later, Soongoora began thinking once more about the tree and the delicious honey. He couldn't get his mind off the honey. He had to have some more, so off he set to the home of Kobe the turtle. Soongoora found Kobe, who was taking a nap in his hammock. Kobe, I have wonderful news. My uncle has died and left me his calabash tree, and in the tree there is a beehive full of honey. Oh, that's good news. I've not had any honey in years. Well, come with me. You're welcome to all you can eat. Soongoora, you are a true friend. I was just dreaming about honey. I haven't had the money for honey. Haven't had a nickel for a pickle. Haven't had a dime for a long, long time. Haven't had the quarter for a cold drink of water, and now you've offered me some honey? Let's go! As before, Soongoora made a torch and smoked out the bees. One angry little bee flew straight to Simba the lion.
Simba, I am so angry. Soongoora is at it again. He smoked us out again. He's eating the honey. Simba, do something.
Simba trotted off to the honey tree, and sure enough, there were Soongoora and Kobe sitting in the tree, eating honey.
Who's in my tree eating my honey?
Kobe looked at Soongoora.
You said this was your tree. Oh, Soongoora, you lied. This is Simba's tree, and now we're trapped. Oh, he'll crack my back. He'll beat my feet. He'll pound me on the ground. He'll stone my bones and kill me until I'm dead.
Oh, be quiet. I'm thinking.
I will not be quiet. I have a right to speak. You tricked me, and now you're trying to think of some way to get yourself out of this and leave me here to face Simba.
Suddenly, Kobe called down to the lion.
Simba, here comes Soongoora.
He pushed the rabbit out of the tree and into the paws of Simba. Soongoora found himself staring eye to eye with the lion. His little rabbit brain was spinning. Think fast, get out of this, think fast. Simba smiled as only a satisfied lion can smile.
Well, my friend Soongoora, I always wondered how good you might taste.
Oh, awful. I would taste truly awful.
Oh, I think you might be rather delicious.
Oh, awful.
Delicious.
Awful.
Why awful?
Well, you see, I have a leg and paw and tail and ferocious.
What?
Leg and paw and tail and ferocious. I've had it for some time now. It struck my tail first, and you'll notice it's almost gone completely. And next my legs will drop off, and then all my fur will fall out, and then I'll fall all to pieces. Oh, it's the most terrible disease known to animals. If you should eat me, you would surely catch it.
Leg and paw and,
Leg and paw and tail and ferocious. My uncle died of it, and I caught it from him by just touching him.
By touching him?
Yeah, he just touched his fur. With that, Simba flung the little rabbit as far and as wide as he could throw him. Then he dashed down to the lake, jumped in, and tried to wash off the touch of the infected rabbit. Meanwhile, Soongoora went home, whistling as only a rabbit can whistle when he has outsmarted a lion. Mrs. Soongoora was home waiting when Soongoora arrived. Have you had an exciting day? Have I had an exciting day? Soongoora told Mrs. Soongoora all about his brush with the lion, Simba. After he finished his story, he had an idea. I think we should go visit the children. When Simba finds out I have tricked him, he'll come here looking for me. Best we not be at home. So Mr. and Mrs. Soongoora went away for a visit with their children and grandchildren. Simba, feeling that a bath in the lake might not have been enough, decided to visit the doctor bird. He found the doctor bird cleaning ticks from the thick hide of rhinoceros.
Dr. Bird, can you give me something to prevent leg and paw and something or other ferocious?
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's terrible. Your tail falls off and then your legs fall off and your fur falls out.
No such thing. Never saw a case of it in my life.
Well, Soongoora the rabbit has it. His uncle died of it. He caught it from his uncle.
Soongoora's uncle died 10 years ago of old age. I was there.
You mean there's no such thing as leg and paw and whatever, Sir Mother?
No.
I've been fooled.
You've been fooled by a perfectly healthy rabbit. Simba gave the earth a mighty whack with his paw, then sat down and twitched his tail. He was furious. Presently, he stalked off to find out where Soongoora lived. He was determined to get that rabbit once and for all. Simba asked all about the forest until someone told him where to find Soongoora's house. When Simba arrived at the rabbit's house, he was surprised to find no one at home.
He must come home soon. I'll just wait for him.
So Simba sneaked into Soongoora's house and hid, waiting to pounce on the rabbit the moment he entered. Now, Soongoora and Mrs. Soongoora were on their way back from visiting the children. They were tired, but happy. It was always good to come back home. Just a few more turns in the path and they would be home. As Soongoora looked down at the path, he recognized a paw print. It was definitely Simba's. And then there were more paw prints, and they were going in the direction of Soongoora's house. He stopped and winked at his wife. If I'm not mistaken, we have a visitor at the house waiting for us, and I'm pretty certain it's Simba. And I'm absolutely positive that he is not here to welcome us home. Soongoora and Mrs. Soongoora turned around and walked back into the forest. What are we going to do? Asked Mrs. Soongoora. We have to go home sometime. I have a plan. First, we must go talk to Elephant. Presently, Soongoora and Mrs. Soongoora found Elephant bathing by the river. Elephant, we have a problem. Someone is in our house and we're afraid to go in. Would you mind coming home with us?
Do you mean a burglar is in your house?
Oh, something like that, yes.
Oh, I'll be glad to go blast him out of there for you, Soongoora.
No. It's not that bad. I just need you as a sort of a witness.
Very well. Let's go.
So Elephant went with the two rabbits, and on their way, they saw Antelope grazing by the path. Antelope, would you mind coming along with us to my house? There's something or someone in there, and I need witnesses.
Not at all,
said the Antelope, and he joined the parade. Soon after, they met Ostrich, who was sitting on her egg. Ostrich, could you leave your sitting for a while to go with us to my house? Now, you see, I fear someone is in there meaning to do my wife and me harm.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, terrible. Yes, if I can be of help, of course I'll come along.
Well, soon many of Soongoora's friends had joined the party, and like a parade, they had all marched to Soongoora's house. When the parade got within sight of the house, Soongoora called a halt. I think we should all stop here. I have a little plan, a little something I want to try before we go any closer. Then Soongoora put his paw beside his cheek and shouted, Hello! Hello, house! I'm home! Now Simba was inside, hiding behind the door. When he heard Soongoora calling, he became confused. Soongoora shouted again, Hello? Hello there, house! House, I'm home! Didn't you hear me? Again, Simba, inside the house, frowned. He didn't know what to do. Soongoora shouted again, Hey, House, what's the matter in there? You always say hello back. Is something wrong? House? Is there somebody in there? You're afraid to speak to me? Now, Simba was really confused. He didn't want Soongoora to think anything was wrong, so he called out weakly,
Hello?
Soongoora shouted, Did you speak, House?
Yes. Hello?
Oh, that's better. How are you doing, House?
Just fine.
How are the chairs and the tables and the pots and the pans?
They're just fine.
Have you seen Simba today?
No. Simba's gone to the river.
Oh. Here Soongoora could hold his laughter no longer. He laughed and shouted, Houses can't talk! Who ever heard of a talking house? At that, Elephant, Ostrich, Antelope, everybody began laughing, and Soongoora shouted, Hey, Simba, come out of my house. Everyone knows you're in there. Come out this very instant. Well, slowly, Simba began to realize he'd been tricked again. He came out of the house, and when he saw the laughing crowd on the path, he dashed away into the forest. Soongoora thanked all his friends for helping him. Then he turned to Mrs. Soongoora. You know, I think I'll leave Simba's honey tree alone from now on. It's just too much trouble. That, said Mrs. Soongoora, is the smartest thing you've said in a long, long time.